Hi, it's Amy with Freshly Married, and today I wanted to do a fun video for you guys about marriage advice that you receive on your wedding day or right before you get married and after you get married. One of the ways that we received some marriage advice was through something that we did at our wedding reception. We had these blank cards for our guests to write down well wishes for us or any marriage advice they had for us. So after we were married, I actually took all those cards and put them in this cute little wedding album that we got as a gift, actually. So now we can flip through and see all the different advice that people gave us. And I've actually had a great experience looking through all this advice after being married for 3 years and having the new knowledge that I have just from experience, but also from my studying, that some marriage advice doesn't work. And so I went through this book and found the marriage advice that I thought was so great that people gave us. And then I went through and found the not so good advice that people gave us that I think you shouldn't suggest to people. And what I'm going to do in this video is share with you the not so good advice that we received and tell you why I think it's not so good advice and why you should probably ignore it if you're told that advice. Okay, so here we go. This is the first one. It says, be quick to forgive and even quicker to say sorry. And the reason why I struggle with this one is because I see the good intentions behind it. I love that it promotes forgiveness and saying you're sorry to your spouse. But I don't think you need to do either one of those quickly. And the reason why is because if your spouse offends you and you just say, hey, like, I forgive you, without really taking the time to process how you're feeling about it, to process, maybe they didn't mean to do that. It's kind of just taking the time to maybe have a pity party as well, then you might resent them for that and then bring it up later. So you might bring it up and your spouse will say, hey, I thought you forgave me for that. I thought you were over that. But obviously you weren't. And so I think if you take the time to forgive, you are better able to forget it. Maybe it's not going to be completely forgotten, but it helps you remember it less, I think. The second part of this of being quick to say sorry is one that I have a hard time with because I have done that before. I have said I'm sorry too quickly, and Trevor has felt that it's not genuine. And to be honest, sometimes it doesn't feel as genuine as it could be. So I think that sometimes you need to take time to think about what you've done to them, to think about how it's made them feel, to think about your role in the situation, to see what you did wrong so that you can say sorry and it's genuine and you mean it. Because I don't think anyone really wants to hurt their spouse in that way. And so sometimes you need a chance to cool off and be able to say sorry and mean it. Okay, this next one is kind of funny. It says, never go to bed angry. And the reason why I think it's funny is because so many people give this advice, yet I don't think it works for everyone. We all love to not be mad at our spouse when we go to sleep at night. We all love to have a better sleep by having an issue resolved. But sometimes the sleep can actually be helpful for you in solving this situation. For example, there's a new therapy that I've read about that focuses on the REM cycle when you're sleeping as being therapeutic and processing some decisions you have on your mind or stresses you have on your mind. And so it kind of reminds me of that saying that people use of hey, why don't you sleep on that decision? The next day when you wake up, you tend to have a little bit more clarity about the situation. You also tend to see your spouse's perspective a little bit better. At least I do. So that's why I think that sleep is actually beneficial in an argument. You might not have the best sleep that night, and neither will your spouse, but I think it's the best route to go. This next one kind of goes hand in hand with the first one. It says talk it out. I think that talking it out can be really stressful sometimes. It can be emotionally exhausting. There's times where me and Trevor realize that we're not getting anywhere in a conversation if we're having trouble seeing each other's side. And so we'll say, you know, I don't think talking about this right now is going to make things better. Let's take 20 minutes or 30 minutes or something and just cool down or whatever, and then we can talk about the problem later. And honestly, that's been helpful because I get to process my own feelings on it. Trevor gets to process his own feelings on it. We can see each other's perspective better. So again, I just think that talking it out can do more damage than be helpful for the situation and in solving the problem. Okay, this last one is funny. I don't know if people mean it as a joke or if they are more literally meaning it to do. It says fight naked. The reason why I think that's funny is because that is the last thing I'm thinking about when I'm in an argument with my husband. I can't imagine him, you know, telling me something heartfelt or sharing his feelings, and I'm supposed to be listening to him, and I start taking off my clothes. I think that he'll say, you know, are you even listening to me? Like, why are you doing that right now? I just don't really get it. I've never done that before, and Trevor's never done that before. I don't know of any couples who have actually done this. So if you have done this before and you have seen success from it, please comment and share your experience because I'd love to know if this really does work or not. Of course, keep the details to the minimum. But yeah, I don't think that's very good advice. It's not very productive in solving an issue. Okay, so that's all of the not so good advice that I found from our book. Of course, there were some things verbalized to us that we thought were really funny that me and Trevor immediately looked at each other like, okay, we're not gonna listen to that advice. And then there were some other things that we were like, oh man, that's such good advice, and I kind of wish I would have written it down. But I'd love to hear the funny advice that you guys have received. So please comment and share what funny advice you guys were given, or advice that you thought was weird that actually worked for you guys. Yeah, I just love to hear it. So please share. And I'm going to do a part 2 video for you guys about all the good marriage advice that we received from these cards because I think it's good to focus on the positive. So be looking out for that video, and thank you for watching, and be freshly married.